AI is a concept that allows computers to think and work their way around problems all by themselves. AI is already very often used in games to enable NPCs to navigate their surroundings. But recently, much like Kanye West, AI has had a sudden rise in interest. Unlike Kanye West, it's not for being dropped by about a dozen brands. It is instead because of the creation of AI that can make art, namely DALL-E and all of its rip-offs. Now, it was while all the questions were being asked about what qualified as art and what would happen to the people who made art for a living that I looked deep into the issue and realised, hey, this could make a cool video idea. What if you gave an AI the resources with which to make a game? And by that I mean, what if you gave an AI some random bloke with some minor programming experience in the Unity game engine? This video, ladies and gentlemen, is going to answer just that. Copy.ai is a website that is mainly used for making clickbaity articles about celebrities. I chose this as the AI which would give me instructions for what to make. Copy.ai was the obvious choice, because of course it was the first thing to come up on the Google search. And of course, being the genius that Copy.ai is, they said this. Game Name is an arcade-style platformer where you play as a tiny little ball of light. The goal is to collect all the stars and avoid enemies who will try to stop you from accomplishing this task. The gameplay is fast and challenging, with lots of different levels to keep things interesting, but it's also simple enough for anyone to pick up and play. This was a promising answer, but I didn't want to simply make a game using an AI-generated prompt, because that's been done before, and done better. So I decided to go one step further, and have the AI make all the game art as well. Crayon was my artist of choice. Now if I want a sprite or image for anything, I have to ask the AI for an image to use, select one, Photoshop out the background, and add it to the game. And that is how we have added our tiny little ball of light into the game. I decided to make really weird controls for our game for no real reason, other than a little bit of trolling. The tiny little ball of light rolls from side to side, and instead of jumping we can propel ourselves up or down as long as we are touching something. No, it doesn't make sense to me either. But this basically means that we can flip gravity, but now we need like levels for our game to be played in. At first I opted to make the entire level out of randomly generated planets, but I found that the weird platforming mechanics just didn't really work particularly well with that. And besides, the AI really wanted me to make grass, so once again I asked the AI for some images. First this grass and then this dirt texture. I photoshopped away and I had this. A grassy landscape comprised of tiles, even with some tents scattered around as a form of decoration, and it was ugly as shit, but no matter. Before I continued on, I had a little look around for maybe some kind of AI generated music, and by that I mean I looked up AI generated music and clicked the first result, which produced something interesting. So the AI said that the goal was to collect all the stars. So obviously we needed a star, which the AI delivered, and after expanding a map we can now jump around and collect stars, which are put in random places every time you start the game, just to make playing it just start a little bit more annoying. At this point I could have called it a day, because I had in fact made an arcade style platformer, where you do in fact play as a tiny little ball of light, and the goal was in fact to collect all the stars and avoid enemies. I feel like something's missing here. So I asked the AI, what should the enemies in the game where you play as a tiny little ball of light be? To which the AI responded with, a giant spider with 8 legs who can turn invisible and shoot lasers out of his eyes. This was definitely an interesting suggestion. I decided that the only reasonable way to implement this would be through a boss fight. So I asked the AI for some art, and it gave me this, which is okay, except for the fact that it has 9 legs. Now, boss fights are of course complicated. Because of this, I decided to start small and simply make the spider rotate towards the player. Okay, so I've just I've written some code on it. It kind of works. Okay, nope, still not working. No, definitely not. Now I was panicking. It had been 2 whole minutes and I had still not fixed the issue. So I dived for my last resort and looked up Unity documentation for about 2 seconds until I realised that I had already made the exact same thing about 5 times before. Control-C, Control-V. Okay, so now it works and the spider can move towards the player. But the AI wanted the spider to turn invisible, and I didn't really know what this meant, so I decided to give the spider an attack. where it can turn invisible and dash towards the player. And it works a little too well. The game is literally impossible now. I also gave it the laser eyes that the AI was begging for, which yes, is also another AI generated image. The laser eyes are just as annoying as the dash, and I have been sniped by it more times than I would like to say. Putting the game's difficulty aside, it didn't make much sense as to why the stars allowed you to win the game for no apparent reason. So I made it so that when you touch the stars, they launch themselves at the spider, causing it to lose health, because that obviously makes so much more sense than just winning the game. The game is kind of hard, but also weirdly fun. The controls are clunky and unresponsive, but I am willing to continue making this along with the AI, that is, if this video can get a whole 20 likes. Goodbye.